moment.
Is Texas Congressman Ron Paul onto something or just on something? The GOP presidential candidate suggesting 9/11 could have been avoided if the government got out of the way and let airlines do their job. Take a listen.
Look at the mess we have now at airports. I mean, the airlines, private industry protects their property all the time. Here is one example when the federal government was involved and they messed it up. And if we put the responsibility on the right people, respected the Second Amendment, I sincerely believe there would have been a lot less chance of 9/11 ever happening.
So is the free market the best way to fight terror? Let us ask our market pros, including Danny Fontana, Terry Keenan, and David Nelson. David, what do you think?
You know, I think he brings up a good point. You know, let the private sector do their job. Let government get out of the way, because government, by definition, Neil, is inefficient. The responsibility of protecting our citizens on the airlines really should rest with the airlines themselves. You know, back in the 70s, Archie Bunker had a very interesting idea. He said, arm all the passengers as they get on, take the guns away as they get off. Nobody would dare hijack an airliner. So there's some truth here.
Danny?
I don't see that. I think that, you know, we heard earlier, called it the blessed invasion of Manhattan, for crying out loud. We're dealing with radical Islam. They're fanatics. I think they'd welcome armed people on airplanes. They'd have a chance to go to paradise sooner.
All right. Do you think, Terry, that this idea that private enterprise can do better what government cannot resonates? It clearly last night resonated with that crowd.
Yeah, it should resonate, Neil, but there's a fly in the ointment in Ron Paul's argument, and that is that the airline industry is the most regulated industry in the entire country, and therefore it's a partnership with government, and, you know, unfortunately, the planes can't get off the tarmac without some sort of government involvement. Perhaps the airlines have to be less regulated, and that could help a lot.
You know, David, one of the things I also consider is the fact that if you add the responsibility for airlines to police and check not only passengers coming on, but once they're on the plane, making sure they don't do anything bad on the plane, that is another added cost. Is it their responsibility?
I think it is. And as a matter of fact, some of the airlines would probably go south. But that would be good, because we have far too many airlines in this country right now for them all to be profitable. So I feel very strongly about this being the right answer. As a matter of fact, I'd be very comforted by the fact that maybe I'd get on a plane knowing that the pilot and maybe that the steward and the stewardesses were armed. I would enjoy that.
I guess I would worry about a lot of people with guns on a plane and something going wrong and people going crazy. Danny?
You know, Neil, free markets don't imply just least government or no government. I mean, there has to be accountability when it comes to free market operations. I mean, somebody has to be in charge. Governments don't do everything horribly. They do a couple of things well. One is provide for the common defense, the military, and the other is provide for taxation. So the idea that we should have no government involvement whatsoever when it comes to protecting us, I'm extraordinarily uncomfortable with that.
Well, Terry, it's a moot point because it's not going to happen, right?
Exactly. I mean, the government's going to be involved in this, and, you know, there is no real accountability for the airlines. I mean, people would pay more, I think, to fly a safer airline, but there seems to be no free market equation in this when it comes to the airline industry, which is why the airlines are never profitable.
All right, guys.
Almost never.
Almost never. I want to thank you all. Meanwhile, tech is booming.